Welcome back, my mathematical minions. Well, today we're going to look at factoring quadratics 2.0, the next evolution in factoring or undoing multiplication that we see in quadratic equations. So remember, we're looking at quadratics in standard form where A, B, and C are all our numbers, okay? Those are all numbers. Now they can be 1, they can be positive, negative, 0, whatever, but that's what we're looking at. So, let's look at this first one. Now, this is where we've been in the past. We said x squared plus 6x plus 9. Well, we know that we can factor this into, we can factor a quadratic trinomial into two binomials, okay? So, and this one right here, we know because we have an x squared at the beginning, we knew up to this point it would be an x and an x. Has to be. So, we would set up our x here, and we know we're looking for two numbers that multiply together that equal the a, which is 1, times our c, which is 9. So two numbers that multiply together equal 9, and add together to equal our b term, which is 6. So two numbers that multiply together equal 9, add together to equal positive 6, has to be 3 and 3. So we knew this had to be x plus 3 and x plus 3. And when we wanted to check this one, we would simply just go back and distribute again. So we would do x times x squared, x times 3 is 3x, then multiply the 3 by x, so 3x, and 3 times 3 is 9. Combine our like terms, and we would get back to x squared plus 6x plus 9. And we said, hey, okay, so the factors are x plus 3 and x plus 3. So that's where we've been in the past. So now we're going to take it up a notch. We're going to go to where our a is no longer 1. Okay, so in this one, we're still looking for two numbers that multiply together. It equals our a times our c. Well, now a is 2, so 2 times 3 is 6, and still add together to equal our b term. So still add together to equal 5. So when we look at this one, two numbers that multiply together to equal 6, add together to equal 5. So they need to be positive. So, well, what about 1 times 6? Does that work? 1 times 6 is 6, but 1 plus 6 isn't 5. So that's not going to work. So when we turn around and we look at this one, can't be 1 and 6. Well, what else? Hey, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, so our factors are 2 and 3. However, now, because this a is not 1, we've got to take this to another step. We've got another step. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a little box over here. Okay, we're going to create a box. And in this box, we're going to take our first part, our ax squared from right up here, and we're going to put it in this first box. So 2x squared goes here. Then we're going to take our c up here, which is this 3, and put it in the last box. Now in these other two boxes right here, this is where our two factors are going. We're going to put a 2x in one and a 3x in the other. Now if you notice here, look at what we've got. We've got 2x squared. We've got 2x plus 3x, which is 5x. Hey, look from our original one, and 3. So what we've just done is we've just factored this to kind of rewrite it in a different way to make it easier. Now, once we've got the box, we're just going to factor by grouping. So let's look at, first of all, let's look horizontally. So 2x squared is 2x squared and 2x. What can we factor out of both of those? Well, we can factor out a 2, and we can factor out an x. All right? So let's look at the next row horizontally. Well, we've got a 3x and a 3. What can we factor out? A 3. Okay. So now let's look at this thing and let's look at vertically. So 2x squared and 3x. What can we factor out of these two? Well, a 2 and a 3, no number, but x squared and an x, I can factor out an x. What about over here? 2x and a 3. Well, it looks like the only thing I can factor out is a 1. Okay. Well, guess what? You just factored it. Here's our answers. X plus 1, and right here, 2x plus 3. So there we go. 2x plus 3 times x plus 1. And if we were to distribute back out, we would find we would have 2x squared. Just take a look. 2x plus x is 2x squared. Yes. 2x plus 1, or times 1, 2x. Good. What's 3 times x? 3x. And what's 3 times 1? 3. And we already said that works. Okay, so let's try another one. I know, kind of throwing them at you really quick, but let's try this one. Okay, so here again, let's put our x to start off with. So we need two numbers that multiply together equal a times c. Well, a is 5, c is 6, so 5 times 6, 30. Add together to equal negative 13. So we need them to add together to equal negative 13. All right, well, if they're going to add together to be a negative, multiply together to be a positive, we know they both have to be negative right now. We know it. Okay, so let's see. Well, normally I would say 5 and 6. Negative 5 times negative 6, positive 30. But negative 5 and negative 6, no, that's not 13. It's negative 11. Hey, what about 2 and 15? Okay, negative 2 times negative 15, negative 30. No, it's negative 17, going the wrong way. How about 10 and 3? Negative 10. Hey, that works. So let's go over here and let's create my box. Inside my box, in the first one, my first term up here goes there, 5x squared. My c, my last term, goes in the last box. And my negative 10 and my negative 3 go in these two. It doesn't matter which one goes where. It's not going to make a difference whatsoever, okay? So let's factor this one. So what can we pull out of horizontally? Let's go 5x squared minus 10x. We can factor a 5 out and an x. Good. What about the second one? Negative 3x and a positive 6. Well, in this case, because the leading number is negative here, anytime that leading term, the one in the front, is a negative, we're going to factor out a negative. And we can factor out a negative 3. Okay? So anytime that leading term is negative, we're always going to factor out a negative. All right, so now let's look vertically. Let's look this direction. So what can we factor out here? 5x squared and negative 3x. Looks like just an x. Okay? And why didn't we factor out a negative? It's because the leading one wasn't negative. Okay, well look at this one. Leading one's negative, so what do we know? Factor out a negative. What can we write out of 10x and 6? Just a 2. So guess what? Here it is. There's our two answers. Our factors, this factored is 5x minus 3 and x minus 2. There it is factored. Okay, not too bad. So let's try another one. All right, so 7x squared plus 29x plus 4. So start off with our x. Two numbers that multiply together equal 7 times 4. Our a times our c, so 7 times 4, which is 28. And add together to equal 29. Okay, well, this one right here, not too bad. Hopefully you're going 7 and 4, first one. No, that's not going to. Hey, 28 times 1. Absolutely. So let's put our box in our box. First term goes in here, 7x squared. Last term goes in the last box. So 4 goes in the last one. And my two factors over here go here, 28x and 1x. Notice 28x and 1x comes up here and gives me my b up here. So all we're doing is just rewriting this. So let's factor it out. Greatest common factor, what can we pull out of 7x squared and 28x? You pull out a 7 and divide out an x. What about 1x and 4? Looks like just a 1. Okay? Now let's go vertically. What can we factor out of 7x squared and 1x? Just an x. What about 28x and 4? Looks like just a 4. And there we go. There's our two factors. It is x plus 4 and 7x plus 1. Factors for that one. Okay? Hopefully you're getting pretty good at this. So here we go. Good luck for you. Come back in class and we will go from there. I will see you guys tomorrow and have a good evening.